I know one day all that's going to come to an end, but right now I'm winning. And I want to thank y'all for the continued support, man. Today is a blessing, man. I love y'all so much, man. I got a treat, man. This is a powerful story. I can't do it justice. I can't tell this story. So I'm not even going to try to, tell the story or none of that. But one thing I'm going to say, man, my brother Coley spent, or I'm going to say wasted 14 years in prison, man. And the story is going to be what he did once he got out. And it didn't just start when he got out. Man, this brother started, while he was in. He's done a lot of stuff. But like I said, man, I am not even going to try to tell his story. This brother speaks powerful. He's a powerful brother. And what I'm going to do, we're not going to go into it yet. Let me take a few more seconds, and then we're going to give him the mic. And then he got his son with him. It's a team out of the ashes. But I'm going to let them talk about that story. Nice. We're going to go ahead and get started and then just let people come in. And what we'll do is, after the welcome, you introduce yourself basically, and then I throw a few questions at you. At the end, if people still there, we're going to take some questions from the audience. Cool. That's good with you?
Sound good.
Yep.
All right. With no further ado, man, we're going to welcome Coley and his son, Amar. Thank you for coming.
You're welcome. Good morning. Good morning, everybody, or good day, depending on where you are. My name is Coley Harris.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Amar Melton.
And we are the co-founders and owners of, which is a organization that, well, I'll let you describe it. You're a little bit better at describing it than me.
Out of the Ashes LLC, what we do with our heart is it's so much. It's so much. What we're doing today is we're training and developing drama therapy inspired presentations to address a myriad of issues in our community, such as parental incarceration, re-entering back into society, post-incarceration, opioid use disorder, violence prevention, and the list goes on and on. Mm-hmm. But it didn't always start there. We started back in 2015, and our mission was simple. Our relationship, we saw a framework, I think. Mm-hmm. We saw the framework that we built organically, story, and we used that to pretty much help others, and that's from there everything kind of blossomed.
Yeah, and I'll add to that. Amar and I, we are a father and son team. I'm Amar's biological father. This is my son, and we created our business and the work that we do around it, our lived experience. So, at the age of 21, I was incarcerated. And ended for 20-year sentence. I ended up serving 14 years in Delaware. And at the time when I went to prison, Amar was 2 years old, and we had limited contact throughout the years, letters, phone calls, and some visits. But prison is not an environment to nurture a relationship with anyone. Particularly with a child. So I came home.
If I can jump in, Coley, yeah. I want to ask you, what was it like for you? You're a young man. You was in prison, 21 years old. What was it like for you dealing with that, knowing you had left a 2-year-old son out there to fend for himself almost?
It was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking for me. It was a very emotional experience, because I had a relationship with my son prior to going to prison. Mind you, I'm a young man in growing up in Wilmington, Delaware, during what they call the crack era. I was deeply involved in, that type of activity in my neighborhood and involved in the streets. But I had a relationship with my son. We spent time together. He spent the night with me. I fed him, I changed him, I bathed him, all these different things prior to me going to prison. Combination, and going in, kind of being in the streets, you kind of subjugate some feelings and separate relationships and people, depending on what's going on. I had it was violence involved in my situation, so there was some separation, but I always had a relationship. And when I went in, it was hurtful. One thing that bothered, and this is from my own, this might be a little transference from my own feelings, but growing up feeling a sense of being alone and loneliness at different times in my life, that was the thing that probably hurt me the most about when I thought about my relationship with my son and not being in his life to kind of mitigate some of those different feelings and just help him navigate the challenges that I'm sure life was going to bring his way.
So let me jump in. Amar, let me ask you now. You the child, you was 2 years old when your dad went in, right? Real quick, you ain't got to say what, but did you kind of know, or did you understand, or at what age did you understand your dad was gone? He ain't going to be back for a minute. Omar, at what age did you realize that your dad was gone, that he was not going to be back for a minute? I know you was 2 years old when he left. At what age did you kind of realize that this was something serious?
So that question is two parts, right? When I realized he was gone was fairly early in my life, maybe 5 or 6, somewhere in there. Actually, I take that back. I realized he was gone. Yeah, maybe around 5, because I was thinking back the other day. I remember visiting him and just placing time periods, right? Because this type of trauma causes memories to be fragmented. And I'm 33 years old, so I don't always spend a lot of time thinking about being 5 years old and where I was. But when I placed back to this particular visit, I was thinking of my sister had just been born.
Okay, do you remember the feelings you had? Because, I know it was an emotional bond, even though at 2 you were still kind of young, but there was some type of emotional bond between you and your dad. What feelings or emotions can you tell us that you went through during that time? And it don't just have to be 5. I'm talking about during that whole experience.
Yeah, during the whole experience, it was a variety of feelings, but I didn't know my dad. Right. So the any connection or relationship I had with him was from a standpoint of him being in prison. I didn't know him when he was home. And honestly, he was just another person. I understood he was my dad, but I didn't know what that meant. And at the time, it really didn't mean a ton because he was away. The people that was caring for me were the people that I had the close attachment to.
Okay. Coley, I'm gonna get to you in a minute, but I want to follow up with Amar and ask, were you hearing any stories or anything, whether negative or positive, about your dad?
I always heard positive stories. One story that I cherish, my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, rest in peace. She would, it was almost like a bedtime story. Looking back on it, she would always, and she took so much pride in this. She would always tell me about the day I was born, and my grandmother, bless her soul, she was sedity, bougie. And she took so much pride in the day I was born. My mom's water broke, and she drove down to the projects looking for my dad, and she was scared. She was scared, and she just went out there and kind of like put the word out. And she said by the time she got back to the hospital, my dad was there. Somebody had got to him, and he was there. And she would tell me about how proud he was to look at me and say, "Oh, I look just like him."
Wow.
Yeah, she told me that story 1,000 times. But
man, that's a beautiful story, man. It's bringing chills to me just hearing that story. So, Coley, say you served 14 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
How far in your sentence, right, did you start making a change in your life, and then why? So this is a two-part question too. How far in that sentence, and why is the second part?
I think for me, shortly after I got into prison, I didn't start change. I wouldn't say I changed. I was really on a pathway to change, to be honest.
Okay.
But I had to sit with.
You freezing up. You freezing up. I don't know if that's my end or your end. Your screen is freezing up on me.
Yeah, sorry about
Okay.
that. Going back and forth.
Go back.
So
Yeah.
What I was saying is that I had, once I got into prison, I had to sit with myself and look at, and emotionally kind of, I didn't realize at the time, I didn't realize exactly what I was doing, but sitting with myself and just looking at um my life, and really taking a look at my life, and I guess probably for the first time in my life started listening to my life. And it's like I started, from my childhood to my, preteen years and forward, I started going on a path of getting involved with different things, getting involved with a lot of street stuff, and being quite resolute in that. And it was just it was a bad path, it was a bad path. And I had to sit with myself and start to process that. I did not know what change looked like. I did not know what the new path looked like, but I started trying some different things. More importantly, a very important piece of this is my mentors in prison. Okay. So when I got into prison, I had an older cousin named Bob Daddy. He was in prison, and he had been in and out and what have you. And he knew a lot of people. He had a lot of respect. And my mother, unbeknownst to me, my mother had wrote him a letter and told him to kind of grab me, keep me from wilding out down there. So he introduced me to a couple of people. He introduced me to a brother named Tayari Uhuru, and Ed Fountain, who throughout my prison, throughout, and both of these dudes were, serving life. Tayari was, at that time and up until now, the longest serving prisoner in the state of Delaware's history that I know of. Or maybe, let me back that up, longest serving prisoner alive in Delaware. And, from that piece, that mentorship, and just like a path of exploration and learning, gradually reading a lot of different books and materials, and participating in groups and activities, but also being very much steeped in my environment, in the fact of knowing what was going on, and through the prison life and everything that goes with that as well. So it wasn't an instantaneous, I got to prison and I flipped the switch and I started doing the right thing. It wasn't nothing like that. It was a gradual process that I took.
Okay. Tell us some of the things that you did while in prison that were positive, if any. Coley, tell us any of the positive things you've done in prison that were positive.
Say that again. We had a little lag.
Microphone. Okay, yeah. That's cool. Let us know, or let the audience know, any positive things within the prison that you did that you may have considered positive, or some things, because as you said, it was a process. So just let us know some of this journey. Yeah. Let us know the journey.
I would say, it's quite a few things, but things that stand out probably most prominent is I got involved in a group called Project Aware, and it was a youth intervention program in the prison that started back in 1978, and they would bring children from the outside, high schools, middle schools, and colleges and universities in to talk to us about the prison experience and some of the things that led to us getting to prison. You familiar with it. that, I created a program called My Brother's Keeper, which was pretty much codifying or creating a program framework around mentoring, the mentoring network, the informal mentoring network that was inside of the prison. I wrote a couple books while I was in, one called Something Like Freedom, the other 15 Laws of the Street. And I was involved, deeply involved in a lot of programs and activities inside of the prison. Also deeply involved in my faith, in my religion. And yeah, that was some of the positive things. Probably the one last thing that stood out to me very prominently is, and I'll never forget this because it was a powerful moment. We were in, myself and some of my other colleagues that I was working with were in a program, a treatment program, and we did a informational report about the program, which was sent out wide and far in Delaware, and it helped to bring a lot of insight and light onto this program and what the work that individuals was putting in to work to better ourselves or rehabilitate themselves. And some brothers ended up getting opportunities from that to go to a program in North Carolina, I want to say, called TROSA. It was a kind of reentry rehabilitative program down there. So that was one of the highlights of my time.
Okay. So being a part of, check your thing, because look like you're freezing up again. Check your system before I ask this question.
Say that again.
Okay, you good. You had froze up for a minute. So I was saying check the system before I asked the question.
Okay.
So you was in the Project Aware program, and they was bringing in teenagers from different programs, and y'all would speak to them, share your life stories. Did that kind of help? Or where was Amar at? Did that help with your relationship, or even the words to even be able to say to him? How did that kind of parallel with your work towards your relationship with your son?
I think it definitely helped. Project Aware will help me stay abreast of the issues and challenges that young people were facing in the community. So, and that was kind of stuff that I tucked in and I guess analyzed and looked at it from different perspectives to be able to assist with or help me address with Amar if need be when I got out. But it was just really probably the greatest benefit was me working through and talking through my own experiences, my own traumatic experiences in different parts of my life, and helping me process that.
Okay, we great to get out of the prison, but I got a few more questions within the prison. But I want to talk to ask Amar. At what point were you starting to anticipate? Because the relationship was limited, maybe letters, a visit here and there. At what point, or was there a point before your dad came home that you anticipated his return?
There wasn't a point because I didn't know when he was coming home. I just got a phone call. I was in the 10th grade, and I got a phone call saying your dad is in the halfway house, and
wow.
it was
wow.
I didn't know he was coming home.
Wow. So take us there. You 10th grade, right? You got a dad in prison. In your mind, his life is so far away, he's never coming home. So that day when you got the phone call, share with us what you felt.
Yeah, I didn't know what to feel.
Okay.
It was just a different day. I don't want to say it was. I don't want to say I wasn't excited, but I didn't know what to feel. I was in the 10th grade. I was 15, turning 16, and I was pretty much finding myself.
Okay.
And now we're adding a new piece into the mix.
Okay.
It wasn't like the days when I was a kid and actively yearning for this person to participate in my life. It was, I'm 15, and at this point, a handful of friends had been to jail and came home. And it's high school, and you hear things and you see things, and I was thankful for sure, but I didn't know how to process that. And on the dual side of that, I was praying that I didn't get locked up and or killed. So
right, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Juggling.
So real quick, I was gonna let y'all know the screen need to be adjusted. Your logo came off.
Yeah,
But the question is, can y'all adjust it real quick?
yeah, we work.
So
Yeah.
for you, Coley, the
Mhm.
day came, right? Because in your
Yep.
mind, you probably was anticipating you probably gonna have to do that 20, correct?
Yeah.
In your mind, you thinking you're gonna have to do the 20, but God, the Most High bless you. You got out early. Share some of the challenges after being in prison 14 years. What were some of your early challenges that you faced?
Um, just adjusting, really. Just a lot of things had changed. The landscape has shifted. Probably the most significant thing was me realigning who I was as a man, as a human being at 35 years old, versus 21 years old. Realigning that, my experiences in the community, um, or realigning that person with the actual environment, that I was in.
Okay.
So
Well,
I continue to, well, not continue, excuse me, when really working on trying to figure out who I was going to be,
yeah.
in that space that I was in, particularly then, as coming home. Some of the regular things like, challenges with technology, were there. Um, Obviously, trying to build a relationship with Amar, that was huge on the list. So it was, different things. Trying to
Yes.
get back into the workforce. Second chances, and I mean, all that type of ban the box and all that stuff like that is great, and it's here now. But when I came home, it wasn't none of that.
Right.
People was throwing your application in the trash can. I've been home
Right.
17 years. People was
Right.
throwing your application in the trash can when
Uh,
you came home. What I mean, you put in there, you ain't got that huge job history gap, or what I mean, God forbid you.
you're freezing once again. You're freezing up on me.
Yeah, it's going back and forth. I don't know.
It's okay. We're working through it. We're
Yeah.
working through this. Yeah. Yeah. So when you came home, like I noticed, like when people hit work release, they going the certain job selection in their mind is going to be like KFC, something a quick job. What was on your selection uh, during that time? What job did you think you can get at that time?
I didn't know. To be honest with you, I was thinking, because a lot of times, a lot of dudes were getting, shop rate jobs, working at the
Okay.
supermarket and stuff like that
Yeah.
when they came
Yeah.
home. I really didn't know. I knew I wanted to do work in the community. That's what I wanted to
Yeah.
do, but
Okay.
there was no, guarantee of that. And to be honest with you, I ran into what I thought was a very strange, phenomenon when I came home. So the people that were working in the community, I had a hard time getting, I mean, even getting, getting the opportunity to work with, people in the community. Then people didn't want to. I ain't gonna say they didn't want to give me a shot, but it was just, I don't know. It was like a closed network or something. It was bizarre to me, because I know I had a lot to offer. Um, I knew I had a lot to offer, and
Right.
the other piece is after a while, you come out, you eager, you volunteer, and sometimes you got to put in work before you can get in where you at. Mind you, I'm working full-time job, part-time job, trying to, connect with my son, family, and all that, and I'm still volunteering in these different spaces because this is the place where I wanted to be at. So I volunteer and doing work there, and then I found out that, um, it was a hustle. They would take advantage of you and volunteer you to death, and
Mhm.
not really give you an opportunity,
Right.
to get in. So I had to make a way for myself.
Right. And we're gonna go on because we know we got to get into the out of the ashes, the whole concept, the everything involved in it. But I still want to continue to walk through on, do you attribute, because I have some experiences, but this is about you, it's not about me.
Mhm.
Do you attribute, when you was trying to go to these different places and volunteer, what do you contribute that to? Was they looking at you, you might be stepping on their toes, or was it he a convict? What do you contribute that the most to?
I contribute to lack of vision.
Okay.
I don't believe. I believe that, the people the people that I would attempted to get connected with at that time, and it's still present today, lacked the vision to see how.
Repeat that because you have blocked out for a minute, if you can. You came in and
Yeah,
you
so
froze again. Okay.
yeah, we playing with another network. We're trying another network now. Hopefully it
Okay.
doesn't freeze.
Okay. Right.
I attributed the barriers and obstacles to my entry into the workforce or the work field that I wanted to work in. I attributed those barriers to a lack of vision by people that
Okay.
were in leadership and not being able to see how other individuals, younger individuals with different experiences, coming in at added value to the work that we were doing and the organizations at that time. At some places, people to see diverse backgrounds can add to.
You there?
Yes.
Okay. That one's breaking up a lot. This network here is breaking up a lot. But like I said, we good. Just go and get it right, and we'll go from there. Okay. Yeah, it's fine now. So go ahead, repeat like the last thing you said within the last, I guess, 20 seconds or whatever.
I don't know.
Y'all can hear me? Can you hear me fine, Coley?
Yeah, we just you just came back in on our screen.
Oh, good.
But
So
did
go
you
ahead.
catch my response?
No, that's what I was gonna say. Go ahead, repeat that because it was
Yeah.
going in and out. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, in short, I think it was a lack of vision from the leadership, not being able to see how someone maybe younger, diverse background, different experiences, could add to the space and really helping to have offer some solutions to the challenges that we're facing in the community.
Okay. Before I move on, right? I got a clip of you. When you came out, you was gun ho. You had clips. You was so motivated. You just making videos. You ain't care. I got one for you, man. I ain't go too far back, but this is back far enough. I want you to check this out and then let me know your thoughts. Afterwards.
Okay. Talking to another brother, good brother, Huss that I know, good brother from down the way, and I just want to get a little bit of feedback from him as far as being involved in the youth intervention field and a youth intervention specialist. What do you think? What's his take on the violence that's going on in the city? So just a couple minutes real quick if you got that for me, bro.
How y'all doing, everybody? My name is Jamal Green, youth service specialist at Kingswood Academy. Been doing this for 3.5 years. My take on the community and the gun violence, man, is going out of chain, man. And we really need to get a hold of it because we killing our own, and we really need to pull it together because we hurting our own self. It's crazy. I deal with kids on a day-to-day basis, and the issues is serious, and they get really real. We hurting our home, and we hurting ourselves.
Let me ask you a question real quick, Jamal. What's your thoughts about as far as what type of what do we need to do to solve the violence in the community?
It need to be a little bit more hands-on. We really need the brothers that really have an understanding of what's going on and been down range before. We need to get out here and we need to be hands-on with our youth, with our kids, with our babies, and pull it back. It need more intervention from everybody.
All right. So if you have one thing to leave the young brothers with out in the street, what would you tell them?
I got a lot I can tell y'all, but what I want to leave y'all with is, I got a lot I can tell y'all, but I got a lot I can leave y'all with. I'm gonna tell y'all to stand down, put them weapons down, love each other, and love your family.
Thank you, brother. And once again, it's Coley Hobson coming to you live and direct. Stand down on violence and stand up for life.
Talk about it, man. What's your thoughts? Talk about it.
That was a flashback there. It was that was a stand down initiative, man. It was not an information, but an awareness campaign, grassroots awareness campaign around the gun violence in the city of Wilmington, Delaware.
Okay.
If I can remember clearly, that probably that must have been around what 2011, 12, something like that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So now we're gonna get into the meats, you know what I mean? The meats of this whole interview, out of the ashes, man.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about it. How did it get started? Where did the thought come from? And I know I'm saying a lot, but just talk about that for me.
Yeah. So out of the ashes, Mark explained it, did a good job of explaining what it is. I'll give you some of the backstory on organization. Okay. We started out with our own lived experience to try to help people to navigate through parental incarceration. So I came home from prison in 2008 at the age of 35. Mark was 16 years old, and he and I had to build our relationship together, working on doing that. Simultaneously, he's 16, going to 17, pushing, into the years of a young man where, decisions made for his own life and how his life, of course, was going to be. And I'm trying to get my life back on track. And we got busy quickly, quickly, hadn't healed our relationship, had a lot of stuff to work through, and we got busy. So he and I, we made
let me jump.
Yeah.
How long was it? Did it take a lot of work to convince him to get on board? What was that like?
No, it wasn't
immediately. Okay.
Yeah, there wasn't no convincing because he wanted a relationship. He wanted a relationship, and I wanted a relationship. So it wasn't a convincing. It was two willing parties that had to figure out how we were going to, go about doing what it is that we needed to do to begin to heal our relationship. And we had a conversation, and we settled on we carved out some time and space for us to walk and talk. And so we started out. We used to walk in the Brandywine Park, and later on in different areas. And we would go like on Sunday mornings, probably around 10 o'clock for a few hours, and we would go and we would walk and we would talk and we would just, enjoy the nature. We would have conversations about things that was going on in our lives. We have conversations about things that happened in the past. Questions were asked. Sometimes it was quiet walks, Sometimes it was just quiet, but we were committed to that. And over time, we began to, I guess, figure out some things around our own lives and our own perspectives. And I think we started to sort out what parts, sort out what was important and figure out our path forward through that. Part of that, in a while, it was a while too. Eventually, probably was about 7 years, 6, 7 years after we had actually started walking, maybe 5 or 6 years after the actual walking, that we started realizing that we had our relationship had gotten better, a lot better than obviously when I came home, and a lot better than some of our peers. My own peers who were incarcerated and had children, his peers who had parents that were incarcerated. And we also wanted to find a way to be able to share our story. So we settled on, we chose to use drama, and we created a three act play, 3 monologues, me talking about my life, unpacking it, Amar talking about his life and unpacking that. And then a third act is kind of like a representing a conversation for us, like meeting for the first time and talking about that, how we were going to create our path forward. We did it. We wrote our scripts. Eventually it was some challenges with that, processing that trauma and working through. I let Amar share whatever he would want to share about that. But to get to that point, and We did it, and we started practicing, and we put on a presentation at the Nemours Theater in Delaware, sold out. And from there, the presentation was powerful, but what we quickly learned was that the Q&A was as powerful, you know what I mean, as the as powerful as the presentation. And it was a lot there. And we never stopped doing it. And we kept working, doing out of the ashes, eventually growing, providing groups, workshops, one-on-one sessions with families and communities that were impacted by parental incarceration or impacted by incarceration overall. From that, we began to leverage the framework that we had built, which is in the vein of drama therapy. We started leveraging that framework to be able to deal with other traumas and traumatic experiences and other issues in the community around violence, around kind of youth mental health and substance abuse and so on.